Shalom, sister Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh by Shem Hamashiach wa Malaki Yahushai. All praises to the Most High. I'm so excited to do this video for y'all. All praises, Lord willing, is helpful. So I was pretty much trying to figure out which fabric to use for this video, and it just made sense for me to use this leftover fabric and that decorative ribbon from the last time I made my son's ephod. And I was like, oh, well, might as well make a mitre to match his ephod. So right now I'm just measuring his big head. So if you plan on doing this for a business, or you're just doing it to be charitable, whatever the reason may be, you can always ask brothers for their measurements. They can just measure their heads themselves, or you can just do it for them. Or you don't have to. You could just add 3 strips of Velcro and kind of make it like a one size fits all. But if you want to do it custom and you want to do it nice and right, I would ask for their measurements. And don't mind Isaiah's hair. I know I need to do it. Alright, so here we are. We at the sewing machine right now. That's the fabric, that I decided to use. I need to fix up that ephod. It's been kind of he ran through it, y'all. Camp, feast days. So it's a little old. And that fabric that I have, I was trying to figure out which fabric to use. I was going to use that at first. And I was like, no, with those fringes. I was trying to figure out which fabric, but I just pretty much explained why I'm using the fabric that I'm using. And this fabric is old. It's I don't know what. This fabric is like 3 or 4 years old. It's from like more than a couple Passovers ago. I used it to make some garments and some girdles. And Lord willing, my next video will be how to make a girdle. And I can do more, I can order some studs, rhinestones, and kind of bling it out. So Lord willing, I could do that. So right now I'm measuring it. I went with 24 inches just to give a little room. And you can mark it with a pencil, pen, scissors, even a little pin. Little sewing needle. Usually I might get on the floor and do this, or I might use my ironing board, but for the video I didn't feel like doing all that moving around. So I'm just doing it at my desk. You also want to measure the height of how tall you would like your mitre or your headband to be. I want to let y'all know, this is my first time making a mitre in like 4 years. I was like, dang, I hope I can do it. Shoot, I almost forgot. So, all praises. And it was fun. It was actually fun making this. I need to start making more stuff. Alright, so right now I'm folding it to see, how it will look once I sew it. And y'all, this fabric is so old again, like it's so beat up. The back of it was just like the back of the fabric attract so much hair. It was like dog hair on it. It was just, it was bad. And I feel like the best way to get even fabric so that they can both measure out on both ends evenly is to fold the fabric. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm folding the fabric. Then I'm just going to cut And it kind of saves time too. So you want to fold the fabric in half like I'm doing and cut. And make sure it's flat and even, like what I'm doing right there. Oh man, my camera messed up. But pretty much I just cut it even, and I'm still cutting it. You see that extra fabric right there? I'm just getting rid of it so it can all be the same size. And again, it would be better if you did have a fabric cutter. You should get one of those from, you know, Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, Michaels, wherever. It'll be better to get one of those. And a ruler. Or using your measuring tape. Alright, so now I'm all done cutting it. So now I'm trying to fold it to see how it's going to look. You always kind of want to play around with it before you start sewing to see how everything is going to look. Alright, so this is the back of it. And I was trying to figure out which side to do. I mean, if I should double fold it or if I should only fold it one time. And when you double fold it, the quality of your mitre will look better. But you want to make sure that you have a good needle, and you also want to make sure that your tension is right on your sewing machine so you don't break your needle, because sometimes that fabric, when you double fold it, when you're hemming the garment, it might break. It might be too sturdy and it might break your needle. So you want to make sure that your needle is loose enough. And you can see on the right upper hand corner right there, you see I got it on J 00 for the straight line. Then the position and tension are right there with check, delete, and add, those buttons. So you have to play around with that if you have this type of brother sewing machine, and play around with the tensions to see how it feels. If it's too tight, you want to try to loosen it up so you don't break it. And also with the 5, 4, and 3, that spinning wheel right there, you want to play around. That's how you play around with the that's the word. Yeah, you want to play around with the tension and make sure you're not breaking your needle. Especially if you're using like a heavy duty fabric like denim, leather, those will break your needle in a quick second. I'm just spinning my thread on my bobbin. I really like doing this part. Sewing is so just relaxing to me. It's so soothing. I don't know why it's looking like it's going in slow motion. Alright, so now I'm just putting my bobbin back in. Making sure the thread is on there tight. When your bobbin is when that bobbin thread is really loose, you're not going to get a good stitch. So you want to make sure that bobbin thread is really on there tight. Now I'm just pulling my thread through the needle. I'm taking the old thread out. It got a little tangled up in there. So now I'm just threading my sewing machine. Right here. Cutting the end of the thread so it can go through the needle smoothly. Before you do any project, you want to make sure your sewing machine is right. That tension is right. It's on the right stitch. The needle is in there nice and tight. The presser foot right there that I just put down is on there screwed in nice and tight. All right, so now I'm going to just go ahead and sew my decorative ribbon on first with a nice, I know I'm moving a little fast, but I can't really sew slow. It's like I gotta do it fast. But you just want to make sure that, first of all, my thread doesn't really match the project, but I'm using white also as an example to show you the stitching. But when you use, and I guess the white matches that that part of the ribbon, the outer part of the ribbon, but I'm just using it white to give y'all an example of how your stitching should look. Now, if you use blue stitching for the ribbon of blue, it will look so much better, but I'm just showing you white just so you can get an example. So my sewing machine was acting up. It was just being Satan. Be not ignorant of Satan devices. Because what in the world? I never had no problems with my sewing machine. The thread kept popping. But I ended up just fixing it. Sometimes your thread can be weak in certain areas. So now I'm just sewing, holding on, making that it's still even, that it's in the center, that's a straight line. You don't have to do, this decorative ribbon. You can do, originally I thought I was going to, put something on there with the crease cut. But maybe for the girdle I can do something like that, Lord willing. I just thought this would look better to match the mitre. I'm trying to figure out if I should flip it or leave it loose. And I just left it loose. Okay, wait, no I didn't. Yeah, I flipped it. I tucked the ends in, the raggedy ends in of the ribbon. All right, now stop right there. Flip it to the left, sew it down. Stop right there, flip it to the right, sew it down. It's all about the quality. Whenever you do it like the scripture says. You want to do it with your whole heart. You want to put everything into it. So it's all about your quality. If you're going to make something for someone, make sure that you're putting your all into it and make sure that you're mastering it. I remember when I had first started making mitres when I had started Numbers 15 attire, and it was this Northern Kingdom brother. I was only doing the fabric. First of all, I just learned how to sew, so I kind of just jumped in there, and I should have took my time with the mitres. I practiced, but everything's a learning experience. I should have took my time with the mitres before I even said I was gonna sell them, because his Northern Kingdom brother, he hit me up and was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I like the mitre, but is there any way that you can sew fringes on both sides? And I remember I told my husband, I was so mad. I was like, he complaining about the mitre that I made. He want me to sew it on both sides. But then I took it like as constructive criticism. And I was like, dang, like I do need to have it on both sides. I was like, I'm gonna get this right. It's like telling me he need it on both sides. I was like, all right, then you gonna get it on both sides. So I took the constructive criticism and I just stayed up and I practiced until I got it right, until I figured it out. So, and that's what we got to do. But, whatever business we start or whatever we do, we always got to just make sure that we're getting it right and that we're practicing it and that we master the things that we put our mind to. So I'm pretty much done sewing on the ribbon. So now I'm trying to fold it again to see how I want it to look. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing the double folding like I was telling y'all, that hemming. So now I'm about to hem the mitre. Now imagine if you didn't hem the mitre. It would just kind of look cheap. So see, you could hem it, fold it one time, but no, we're going to do 2 times because we want it to look a little nice. So I'm just playing around with it. I was trying to figure it out if I should do 1, 2, but I said, look, we're going to do 2. Now, if you really want to make a good high quality headband, you can sew maybe some silk inside the fabric. So, you know, brothers not getting just that fabric on their hair right there. You can sew silk inside first, and then you can hem it. And I should have did that, y'all. I don't know why I didn't. But I was kind of pressed on time, to be honest. My husband had asked me to do something, so I had to hurry up and make sure I was just, you know, measuring my time out wisely. But look, now I'm hemming it. Straight line, boom, right down the left side. See? Look at that. It looks so much better. All praises. And when you fold it, continue to fold it as you sew it. Or you can use a pin. You can use the fabric pins and you can pin it in there. But I think it's much easier to fold it. Oh, and they also have, I've seen it on TikTok, they also have a presser foot. If you don't know what the presser foot is, the presser foot is what's holding the fabric down. They have a presser foot that hems fabric. Sorry, y'all, it's lucky. It's a presser foot that hems fabric for you. So you can look on Amazon for that, or Michael's, wherever your fabric stores ask if they have a presser foot hemmer. But you know, you really don't need that. You can just do the old school way and hem it like this. Just make sure you fold it. And don't mind my hands, y'all. Look, I've been working, man. I've been working with, you know, I've just been working, so my hands look a little busted. All right, so look, it's done. That top stitch is done. And see, I'm only using a white as an example so y'all can see the stitching. But imagine if I were to use the gold stitching, you wouldn't even be able to see it. But you still want to make sure that whatever you're doing, the brothers are going to see it. They're going to look at it. And brothers like nice stuff. All right, so now I'm about to go ahead and... Now I'm showing you how it could have been done if you use that fabric, that silk fabric underneath. So you could have did it like that, or I could have did it like that, but you could do it like that, but I didn't. But it would look nice if you use a different fabric underneath. Now I'm doing this side. Same thing. You just want to hold it down. Make sure everything is nice and even. And you always want to start it off, your stitch off really slow. Make sure, you know, everything is running nice and smooth. Then you can, boom, go real fast. I feel like when you sew slow, it gives you time to, I don't know why it's just me, but I feel like it gives you time to, it's like to mess up. But if you do it fast, for me, it's like I'm getting it done and it's fast and I don't have to worry about like nothing happening. If you understand what I'm saying. Like I'm just getting it out the way, but if it's slow, it's giving time for like something to happen. And we don't got time for that. We moving. All right, so we almost done. And make sure you, when you doing that hem, you want to make sure you holding it down nice and tight. You got this. Y'all can do this. I really want sisters to walk away from watching this video to be able to make their sons, husbands, brothers, headband. Well, when I did numbers 15, I wasn't making headbands. I was just making mitres with the fabric. And that was a lot. It was better off I was better off making headbands, which were easier. I had to like iron the fabric out and do a whole bunch of sewing. But the headbands are so much easier. The headband mitres. And I'm also going to show you how to sew the ribbon of blue with fringes too. Because sometimes brothers might like it might be, dope to have the fringes on one side. All right, look, it's done. Boom, look at that. All right, so now I'm not using that right now, but that's the Velcro that I used. And I didn't even realize that it was both sticky backs. Usually I sew my Velcro on, but I guess, the sticky back, it works. That's the blue ribbon that I'm using. Amazon, I think it's 21 inches. Some fabric from this Passover. Some fringes. All right, we're about to get into it. This is my favorite part. All right. So now I'm just getting the fringes on the right side. So I always start in the middle. I'm going to cut off that extra piece of fringe that's falling away, because it's going to look raggedy if it stay on there. All right, so you don't have to hem that outer piece of that piece right there, the end piece. You don't have to hem that piece because you're going to sew some fringes. You could hem it, if you don't want to do the fringes. I'm going to show you how to hem it later on. But I'm going to just show you how to add the fringes on right now. All right. So I always start in the middle. All right. When you start in the middle, so boom, hit it. And you're going to go, stop, pull it up. Cut the thread. Make sure the thread is in the back of the sewing machine. And now you're going to wrap it around. But you want to make sure that it's even. Feel where the back of the fringe is and make sure it's even with the front. All right. We done sewing the front. Make sure that it's lining up. Make sure the top of that fringe is lining up and that one side isn't overlapping the other side. Now I'm cutting the excess thread. Sometimes if I'm in a mood, I'm going to just cut the excess thread right there. Or at the end of the project, you can go back and thoroughly remove all of the excess thread. All right, I'm cutting. Now I'm about to fold it over. See, when you fold it over, that also helps the fringe from becoming raggedy and loose. Because again, it's all about, the quality. So there you go. Right down the middle. Then you want to double back it. Make sure that stitch not going nowhere. That fringe. Just cutting the extra fringes. The extra thread. Y'all, I love this. I'm doing a voiceover, but I might make another one. I might make another one for my other baby. My husband, he don't really wear mitres like that. He just wears scarves, but I'm gonna make one for my son, or with my other ones. All right, look, and there you have it. It's even on both sides. Okay, that's so dope. I really love this fringe and this gold and silver combination. So I'm just cutting the extra thread. Making sure everything is good. So now we're about to get into adding the ribbon of blue. You don't have to add the ribbon of blue exactly on the fringe like how I did. In this case, you can also add a ribbon of blue on the top of the fringe, you know. You can switch it up, do fun stuff. Like when you see the flyer I made for this video, those mitres, I put some of the ribbon of blue on the top of it, you know, for decoration. All right, but you want to put your fringes, your ribbon of blue right in the middle where you started. All right, we starting right in the middle on the back, straight line going towards the left side of the mitre. A nice straight line. And remember, I'm just using white thread so y'all can see how the stitching looks and how your stitching needs to look. All right. Now I'm folding it around. Now I messed up because again, y'all. Okay, yeah, I did it right. Again, you know, I haven't done this in like 4 years. So now I'm doing the right side of the mitre. Making sure all of the fringes are laying flat. And right here, I was having problems with my sewing machine. It was just Satan, y'all, because I don't know. It wasn't catching for some reason. All right, so I finally got my machine to work. And it's okay if you have mistakes or if your sewing machine messes up. You know, with experience comes wisdom. All right, so now I'm done that side. I did it down. Now I'm going in and I'm sewing the back. I'm trying to make sure it all lines up. I'm just cleaning up some of the extra thread in the front and the back. And I want to make sure that the threading looks good and that it's all lining up with each other from the front and the back. All right, and that's how it's looking. Now imagine if I had the ribbon of blue. You wouldn't even be able to tell. The blue thread. But that's how it should look. Nice and even, going straight down on both sides. So now I'm cleaning it up. So once you flip that ribbon, once you sew down those, the back side, you just bring the ribbon over and you sew it. Y'all, I don't know why my camera was acting up, but this is the back of it. It's all done. I'm done sewing. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the Velcro. So now I'm just measuring to see where I want to add and cut the Velcro. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. For some reason, my camera decided to do in slow motion. So I don't know why. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut the excess Velcro off. And I did this 3 times. Then I ended up taking one off because it was just too much. So just go ahead and cut. Peel the sticky back off. Or if you want to sew it on there, just like how I showed you how to sew that embroidery ribbon, you can do the same thing. Sew in a square or rectangle or round it. I would recommend sewing it if you're going to sell it, better quality. Or you can use, I would definitely just sew it on there. But I'm just using the tape for today. You could just sew it right on there like how I did that ribbon. So I got everything cut out. Now I'm about to just remove a little bit of extra thread. Cleaning it up. So now I'm just putting the sticky back on there. Velcro. And I'm placing it right in between both hemlines. You don't want to put it all over the hemlines, having it looking sloppy. All right, so now I'm about to add the softer side of the Velcro. And I was trying to figure out how I wanted it on there. That looks pretty stupid, so I don't know why I even thought that. Absolutely not. Okay, right, yeah. I end up doing it like that. And I went back in after I did it and I fixed it. I cut it a little shorter because it was too long. So you don't want the Velcro all showing in the back. You kind of want the Velcro to be hidden. And you don't always have to necessarily use Velcro. You can make sew buttons on, but nobody really wants to do that. The Velcro just looks a little bit, it's easier. So I just put it on both sides, the right side and the left side of it. Then I went in to hem the bottom of the mitre. All right, so I'm all done. I figured it didn't really matter if I got it on the hem with this part because it's going to be hid anyway. So I'm cleaning up the excess fringes. I mean, why do I keep saying that, y'all? The excess thread. Now I'm about to hem it. I'm folding it. So I have to cut some of the Velcro because it was in the way of the hem. And that Velcro was kind of strong because it was removing some of the gold off of the mitre. So I'm cleaning it up and I'm about to go in and hem it. I was thinking, should I double it? Remember I said how when you double it, it looks better? Like that. But I did it one time. On this side. Because I didn't want it to break my needle. I was like, no, I'm not about to. And I didn't feel like playing around with the tension. So I just did a straight line across. And that honestly still looks good. But when you're hemming the actual sides of the garment, like the top and bottom, I would always make sure I do a double hem. But when you're ending it off, that hem looks cool. All right, so now look. This is how it looks. It's icy. It looks really nice. All praises. So, yep, it looks good. And it's all about the quality. So I'm trying to see how I'm going to put it on Isaiah. Just add in that Velcro. Mash it down. And there you have it. You know, a lot of people might not like that fringe on the back. But like I said, when I was making mitres, I always put fringes on both sides and kind of tied it around. But the headband looks so much nicer. Aww. It matches. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. All right, now you're checking it out. Looking like his dad. And as you can see, it matches the ephod. But I got to replace the shoulder pads in his ephod. Because again, the fabric got a little old. I'm going to replace it. But that's the back. And yeah, I'm pretty much done, y'all. This is it. Lord willing, this was helpful. Shalom, love y'all.